So I was gonna say real quick, I'm coming on here. Well, I gotta make two videos, but I wanted to make this video because I should have made it last night, but I wasn't in the mood. Um, oh, I made a paper plane just like a week ago. We're gonna make more, so I want to know how to make them forever. Love that. So I have hot water brewing for my little chai tea that I made because if you can hear me, I'm a little sick, and this is it. You can't see it because you're a bitch. But it's really good though. I made it just a tad bit too sweet, so I'm adding extra water. I'm adding extra water to make it a little less sweet, and because my almond milk made it a little too thick, so I'm making it less thick and I'm making it less sweet. And also, it's kind of cold because I didn't let the water. I let it get cold by accident. I didn't let the water. We have this water heater thing now, and I didn't leave the water on there for too long. I'm still trying to find the right balance of like because if you leave it on there too long, it's too hot. If you don't leave it there long enough, it's not it gets cold fast. So I didn't leave it on there long enough. So yeah, we're dealing with that. But anyways, I want to talk about being outcast. And I'm watching Wednesday Adams, aka Wednesday, on Netflix. And I am and I was thinking this last night. Okay, y'all remember when I said that I'm a chimera, right? And there are beings similar to me, right? And of course, there are other types of chimeras out there. Um, and I don't know if I'm gonna make these reaction videos before this. I doubt it. Where I don't like I said, I don't know which timeline this is gonna be on. So either before or after, there's a video where I react to people being because I don't know if y'all know, but hybrid souls exist. And we're gonna get into that later. Like I'm talking about hybrid souls and walk-in souls on my channel, that is, not in this video. But so hybrid souls exist, right? So somebody can be a Palladian and a human, or a Palladian and a Lyran in a human body. Some people can be a demon and angel. And that's what I'm going to talk about. Demons and angel, hybrid souls, and shadow workers. Those, and I'm correlating that back to me because I'm those. That's me. And for the longest time before I knew I was a chimera, I was like, I stumbled upon being a shadow worker, or I called it a shadow healer or a shadow alchemizer. And that's the opposite of a light worker, where a shadow worker or a shadow healer or shadow alchemizer works with the darkness specifically. Like they go in the dark. Like they don't care you are a murderer, a rapist, an abuser, whatever. Anything dark you could think of, that's typically what a shadow healer works with, right? And for the longest time, well, not for the longest time, because I found this about 6 months ago, a shadow healer. Well, no, it was last year, about 8 months ago, probably sooner. No, it was actually sooner than that, but I never paid attention until about a month ago. So, a shadow worker, well, about 2 months ago, a shadow healer. And that's somebody who, like I said, who works with like the darkness. They tell you, let's go into the dark and let's figure this out. Versus like not just healing your trauma. They're like some of them can alchemize your trauma, your shadow. And that's what I'm learning to do. I've learned to do that with myself. But eventually I'm going to be taught how to do that with other people. Due time, obviously, right? But um, and this goes back into my Akate video, and which I'm making today. So I don't know if I'll make this before or after, where I talked about I um healed and alchemized my trauma and the stuff that they pulled out of me and what I did and how it only took me 2 days, two, to fully alchemize it. And Now going back to yeah, so this probably I don't know before before and yeah before because I don't have to edit too much. No, it won't. Yes, it will. I don't know. Um. So hold on, I gotta get my water. So it's getting warm. I got it perfect this time. Um, did I scare you? I started watching Wolf King on Netflix. I'm on episode one. It reminds me of a show that I like to watch called The Dragon Prince. Oh, such a good show. So I think I'm gonna like Wolf King. What do I call it? Wolf Prince? I don't know. Doesn't matter. So going back to what I was saying, and like I said, I'm gonna make it full circle. What time? We're at 6 minutes. Oh, okay. Snap. So, well, we say that now. Let's try to get to a minute mark. And we'll see after. I get nervous when it gets time. When I'm timed, I don't know how to act. That's why I suck at taking tests because as soon as I know I'm timed, I fumble the bag. I just can't help it because it's like pressure. Anyways, yeah. So a shout out. I've learned to and everything's been a step. I've learned to alchemize my own shadows. Like I said, my sex trauma, especially because Hakate, my mom, I call her mama. Mama, she, when I was channeling her, she was in my body. Oh, she, of course, she's pressure, right? She's big pressure. Big mama, big pressure, right? That's what Hakate is. And after I was about to go to sleep, after I said my goodbyes, you know, because when I channel for like about 3 hours, I end up starting to get sleepy. So I'm like, okay, it's time to go, mama. I love you, girl. But I'll see you again soon. Probably in my dreams. I might not remember, but I'll see you later. So I sent her about her way. So I thought. And I she didn't leave. She left my body, but she was still in my room because I was going to sleep. Tell me why this hoe. Tell me why this hoe. She was literally pulling at my solar plexus gently at first. At first. And I'm not thinking none of it. And this goes back into my last oh, yeah, yeah, I'm gonna say this in my content video. So I'm giving context. Um, when I first started to get high, I would always feel like I'm being raped. And that sounds crazy. But every time I would get high in my room, specifically when I get high alone, and I'll be in the bed, and sometimes I'll lay down. And every time I would lay down, it would feel like a physical being is crawling on top of me and raping me. And of course, I didn't think nothing of it at the time. And this was like, I've always been taking edibles. But that feeling started happening 2 years ago, from what I remember. It happened before that, actually. I've been taking edibles for about 3, going on 4 years. And I don't remember that first year. I do remember it. I want to say I remember it happening once that first year, but I don't remember too much because that first year for me was I had a lot of drama going on, so I didn't have time to focus on anything spiritual. I didn't. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't. So I don't know. But last year is when I noticed it, and I even told my friend. I was like, we was smoking, and I was like, I think I've been raped before. And if you've done past life regression work, or if you've seen your past lives, and some of us were raped, it is what it is, inevitable, right? And I didn't think none of it last year. So I said it. I was saying it in fun in jest because I was being funny about it. Because I'm like, okay, I guess I was raped, whatever. Girl, fast forward till now, to more like, well, like a month ago. This happened a month ago when I challenged Mama, and she pulled that trauma out of me. And when she was pulling it out of me, I was oh, it's 10 minutes, girl. We're gonna go past the 20 minutes. It's gonna be at least 30 minutes, this video. She was pulling the trauma out, and I wasn't thinking of it either. I was like, wait a minute. I think I know what's happening. So I say about 2 minutes went by before I realized, oh shit, she's pulling out my great trauma. It's about this bitch. This is like, stop. I was like, wait, hold up. I'm not ready. She didn't care. She did not care. So the more I started to notice what was happening, the more she started to pull because I was unconsciously giving my consent, obviously, right? And then once I realized what she was doing, I was like, okay, hold on, mama. Let me help you because there was some parts where she was tugging and nothing was coming out. It was like trauma. I can feel it. It was like imagine a anchor going down into your solar plexus and yanking and pulling out. Mama, listen, mama, she heavy handed. I ain't gonna lie. If you ever get your hair done by your mama, right? This is mainly for like the black community. If you ever got your hair done, like as a mixed person or a black person, and your mama, typically your black mama, when she do your hair, or your daddy maybe, when your parents or your guardian does your hair, y'all know sometimes I ain't gonna lie, they can be heavy handed as fuck. It's kind of like that when you. I was like when you tender headed and you get your hair done by that heavy handed mama or guardian, you can keep it. You can keep it. But she was heavy handed after a while, and I was like, oh my god, like y'all, I had to do a lot of like I mean whatever. I'm not getting too much into it because it's more Hakate video. Y'all go watch. Um, yeah, either before this video or after. Um, yeah, it's called Being Her Keys. This episode is episode 2, and I forgot what the title of it's called. It's gonna be like healing a sex wound or something like that. I don't fucking know, bitch. But yeah, it's episode 2. So that's all you gotta find. Episode 2 of Being Her Keys in my Hakate playlist. Um, yeah, so and I was like, when she couldn't pull it out, I was like, hold on, mama, let me help you. And I was talking. This body was talking to my soul, to my other self inside my body. And I was like, it's okay, it's okay. And then I called upon my angelic form and I asked them to come down to help me too. And we helped because they needed more of a light masculine energy, more so. And because during that time I was working on my masculinity and healing, and not healing, but reintegrating my divine masculine energy. That's why also I was working with my demonic infernal family. They were also teaching me how to embody my masculine energy without it being over masculine like it was in the past. Um, so yeah. Anyways, long story short, she got me through that, and I'm not gonna lie, I was crying like a motherfucker. I was crying out all that trauma that I had stored in my body, in my solar plexus, and she pulled it out from my sacral too. So yeah, I was suffering for about 2 days, but after those 2 days were up, I was happy again. I alchemized it, and now I can make a joke about it. Well, I made a joke about it like literally the 2 days. After that happened, I was making jokes about it, and I was just like, being funny and all that stuff. So I was working through I worked through that, and I have a accelerated soul template. So that means I learn fast. I learn like years worth of information within like a few months or a week or a few days. And I heal within like a few days as well. At the most maybe a week. So yeah, I've been working with that. And this leads me back into being an angelic and demonic hybrid because I thought I was that briefly. And because that I've never seen that video before, I'm gonna react to it, so I can know what I'm talking about. It'll definitely be after this video where I react to those demonic and angelic hybrid souls. And I didn't realize, yeah, people can be that because I've known people to, well, I've heard people of the star seeds Well, I've known that other star seeds can be hybrids because I thought I was a hybrid at first, which not quite exactly a hybrid. Obviously, as you know now, I'm a chimera. It's a little different, but going back to that demonic and angelic soul, there are people who walk with the demonic and angelic current, and they teach people how to hold duality. And I brung those two people up, the hybrids and the shadow healers, because they are outcasts too. Those people are outcasts. And I relate to them a lot, right? And going back to Wednesday, it's like finding your community, right? So I want to find more of those people. But I guess this is a video about outcasts. Um sorry, I'm watching Emirates on YouTube. Um so going back to those outcasts and why I feel like Wednesday, because Wednesday Adams is because I feel like I'm an outcast among the outcasts. Now I was saying this last night. I feel like, well, I said this today that I'm too dark for most people and too light for the dark people. And then I said this yesterday. Too I feel too alien for the humans and too human for the aliens. And I don't feel like I belong. Even amongst my star family, even amongst my demon and witch family. And when I would find my own people in this world for a short fucking time, when I found them, I was always treated like Roger from, if y'all ever seen um Sister Sister or Sister, is that what they call it? Sister or Sister. I can't remember. I think it's Sister, where Tia and Tamara Mowry, yes, they will always mistreat this Roger character, and they would always, at the end of every episode, they will always be like, "Go home, Roger." I'll never forget that, and that's how I used to be treated in friend groups. Like I was just so other. Even when I was a people pleaser and I tried to fit in, it didn't work. And after spending these 3 months in solitude, absolute solitude, as much as possible when you live in a chaotic house, I realized what I am. I'm just a freak, a weirdo. I'm weird. WYRD. I'm weird. And I've always felt like an outcast among the outcasts, among the outcasts, among the misfits. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of people feel like an outcast, but y'all, this is not like. I feel like, and I've told my family this, not my physical earth family. Fuck them bitches. I'm talking about the real family. I told them my ancestral family. Oh, I speak out loud a lot to everybody who's listening. I told them, even magic itself, even pure imagination, even the bound dream, right? AKA the void. I told them, even amongst the void, I feel like a weirdo. I feel like I don't belong. Like I feel like there's no place that I specifically belong. Not even in the land of imagination. No, yo, I'm for real. I feel like even when I evolve more consciously and hold more of my higher divinity in my body, and I could levitate and teleport and wield magics, I would always feel like an outcast, like a weird, like I said yesterday, last night before I went to bed. I feel like I'm a cosmic traveler who would never settle down, and I envy those beings out there that exist that do settle down. Like, what I mean is, a Lyran, for the most part, remains a Lyran unless they transcend and become one with the void. A angel, demon, or a fairy usually stays a fairy. Um, you know what I mean? Like, space will always be space. Arcturians and Andromedans will always be that. Like, once you reach the 12 density, you really have no reason to change. So those archetypes, humans even, those archetypes will always be that. I feel like no matter which archetype I am, I'm not whole. Does that make sense? Like, no matter which archetype I portray one day, like a witch, a demon, a fairy, a princess, a goddess, water, air, elemental, vampire, monster, right? No matter which archetype I portrayed that day, I don't feel whole. I feel like something's missing. And I'm gonna make a video about that. It's gonna be after this video where it talks more about why I feel this way. And I made up a different archetype for myself. Technically it was like three, but this is the main one. Instead of, well, I still call myself a chimera, but I started calling myself a dark chimera. Like I said, I'm gonna go more over it in the videos after this, where I talk about being a chimera, because I feel like it gets crazy, and I don't want to explain too much. But yeah, I coined the archetype dark chimera, and essentially that's a being who works with the pain and suffering of creation, right? And I related it to demons, how demons hold frequencies such as hate or lust or envy or jealousy, greed, shadows, power, oppression. Like, demons hold that frequency for the dream to work right. And my function is going to be kind of similar to that, but not completely. Once I graduate this earth, well, I'm still going to be on earth. It's going to be, I'm going to have a house here, even once I fully evolve like a Pokemon. And once I finish out my little, I guess, contract here, I have so many other things that I want to do to help get me to that point where I can fully embody my dark chimera power and archetype, I guess you could say. And last night confirmed it for me. I'm a storyteller, and I love telling dark stories. Of course, other stories too. Don't get me wrong, because darkness doesn't mean necessarily pain. In the most like obvious sense, it could just mean deep. But I see that I'm going to be that. And I've been leaning more into that. And I've been leaning more into my left hand path nature, I guess you can say. And I'm not fully left hand path, obviously, but I'm heavily left hand path. And that's just my nature. And I've accepted that. And I've accepted that I will always be like sad. Not sad like, woe it's me. I'm suffering and dying type of sad. No, I mean like sacred sadness. So what I'm saying is I will always feel despair, dreariness. I'll always be sad. Um, like I said, not in an unhealthy way, but no, I will always be despair. I will always be sad, or I will always feel despair in a sacred way. Like how demons hold negative frequencies, I'm gonna hold those type of frequencies too, but not exactly like that. No, it's gonna be different. And it's gonna be more so like I'm holding multiple frequencies, not just like pain. That's gonna be one of them. In darkness. That's gonna be those like the kind of part of the core, but also that's the core is the storytelling aspect of it and the mythical side of it. So I coined three terms that perfectly, I guess, categorizes me. Dark Chimera, the storyborn Chimera, and the mythic Chimera. And those three parts are what I'm made up of at my core. And that's the path that I'm walking on, that I've come to understand what that means. And I've been understanding that for a minute now. I'm still understanding what that fully means, by the way. Like, this goes beyond just being a weirdo, y'all, or being different, or a misfit, or not fitting in. Because I came to this truth last night. Is just at my core, I'm not meant to necessarily fit in the, you know, obvious sense. I'm a chameleon, yes, but I don't belong anywhere because I'm everywhere. I'm everything, right? And like I said, even if I went back into the void or became one with pure imagination or connected fully back to magic itself, and I call those my siblings: magic itself, pure imagination, and the void or the bound dream or the eldest dream or the first dream. That's what I call them. They're all my siblings. And even amongst them, I don't feel like normal. Like when I was imagining myself being a Lyran again, or like a star race that's not human, and after being told about some of my past lives, I was always a weirdo. Even when I was a Lyran, I was a weirdo. They even thought I was a little curious. They was like, okay. Of course they accept you. I'm not talking about beings accepting me. I'm talking about I don't think I would ever truly be understood even by the void or pure imagination, right? Or magic itself. And the things that I know that I want to do after this life, it's not going to make sense to anyone. Maybe a few of my siblings, but even then they're going to be like, what the fuck? What would you want to do? So, uh, I'm about to get off. It's been 30 minutes. But I just want to say that, like, I've accepted the fact that I just don't belong. And it also came about when I was thinking about being in like a romantic relationship. I don't think, like, I said, like, I can't settle down. I can never settle down. But then I envy people who do settle down. It's like I'm meant to long always. I always say I'm a hopeless romantic because I am. Even if I found someone, I don't think it would definitely be very unconventional. But even then, you know what's funny? I I can see myself being with somebody, but then as soon as I think about it, I reject it. I don't want to be with anybody. I want to be with somebody, somebody's people, but I also don't want to be with anybody. I want to be alone at the exact same time. And that was another thing too why I bring up angel and demonic hybrid souls, because I'm always conflicting. It's always two opposing forces, never fully, I guess you could say, getting along. They're not fighting. They're just standing 10 toes down in their beliefs. You know what I mean? They still love each other, but these aspects in myself are just, they're together but separate. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, I think I will always be a cosmic misfit. Like cosmically, I am designed to just not fit in. And in a way, it's kind of lonely, but mm, right. Right, dog. Um, so I realized that, you know what's crazy? I talked about it last night. It's like I will always be alone and feel so much pain. At the same time, it's like I enjoy that because those are the realest stories. And I enjoy stories that are not always so easily understood, that has so many layers, so many mysteries, so many deep and dark, deep and dark truths. So real that it's like it hurts. Like almost being like, in a weird way, a sadist or a masochist. Sadist. Wait, which one likes pain? Whichever one that is. I think it's a sadist. It's like always. It's like kind of being that essentially. It's like, but not liking it just for the pain, but because I understand what this means for me, because it's a part of me and it's never going away, no matter how hard I try to get rid of it. I didn't even get rid of it. Just don't. No matter how hard I don't think, no matter if I think about it or not, it's just who I am. And I realized that this is the path because I know what I want to do. It's definitely not going to make sense once I explain it. Maybe one day on this channel. I don't know. But yeah, the path is definitely a little crazy because I think in this lifetime, I'm also going to experience what I am experiencing. And I'm not talking about necessarily being successful, but something else. But yeah, I hope this makes sense. This video diary is fucking long, y'all. Video diaries aren't supposed to be this long. So I'm gonna get off. Um, yeah, being an outcast among the outcasts, among the outcasts, among the misfits, among the freaks. It's a lot. And it hurts. It made me cry. It was sad and depressing. But when I was crying and feeling depressed, I was also laughing at the same time. Because I'm a mad scientist archetype as well. And I've come to the truth that I'm too human for the aliens and too alien for the humans. And it will always be like that. Not, like I said, not because I'm a hybrid soul, but because I'm a chimera. I'm not supposed to fit in, not even amongst my own kin. Think about that. How dark and fucked up that is. I said it, I was like, Void, you're fucked up. You're sick for this. I love you. And I'm not saying I want to change, but I love you. But you're still fucked up for this. Like, and it let me know how much I can actually handle compared to that's a lot to take in. It's a lot. And I'll be talking about more of this throughout my channel videos. And I'm going to have a Chimera playlist. I think I'm going to put this in my Chimera playlist. I'm gonna have a Chimera playlist. I think it's about time. I think it's about time. So yeah, we'll talk more about this as the years go on, the months, the weeks, the days go on, the nights continue. So yeah, every day is the same day. Think about that. But yeah, bye y'all.